Hey everybody, this is Rykard here again, and welcome to another Pokemon Movesets video. Today's video is going to be all about the final evolution of the water starter, Inteleon. So let's get started by taking a look at this Pokemon's typing, abilities, and stats. So to start things off, Inteleon is a pure water-type Pokemon that has access to two abilities, the first of which being Torrent, which is the standard water starter ability that boosts the power of your water-type moves by 50% when you fall to a third of your health or less. But its hidden ability, which hasn't been released just yet at the time of making this video, is known as Sniper, which is an ability that increases the damage of critical hits that you land on your opponent. Normally, when you land a critical hit, it deals 150% of the damage that you are about to deal. But when you land a critical hit with the Sniper ability, it deals 225% of the damage, thus making landing a critical hit very powerful with this ability. Now, it hasn't been unlocked yet, but there is a way that this Pokemon could actually land automatic critical hits to fully make use of this ability once it does get released. As for its stats, though, defensively, this Pokemon is fairly frail, with only base 70 HP, 65 defense, and 65 special defense, so you're not going to be taking hits amazingly well with this Pokemon at all. However, its offenses allow this Pokemon to be a fantastic attacker, possessing a base 85 physical attack, which is a little bit weaker than its special attack, being base 125, allowing it to hit very hard, especially with the special attacks that it has access to. Additionally, though, this Pokemon also has access to Swords Dance, which does allow it to run a physical set very successfully, so there is that, and this actually honestly makes this Pokemon the best mixed attacker of the three starter Pokemon. And lastly, for its speed stat, it has a base 120 speed stat, which means it is also the fastest starter Pokemon as well, and going to be one of the fastest things on the battlefield, and outspeed a ton of opponents to make use of its great attacking stats. So with that, let's go ahead and take a look at the first moveset that I have for you in this video. So for this first moveset, we're going to start by running this Pokemon with a Naive Nature to increase its speed but lower its special defense, and run either the Torrent or Sniper ability when it's released, because honestly on this particular set, there really isn't a better option, they're both just kind of okay. But for the EVs, we're going to put 4 into its physical attack, and then max out its special attack and speed by putting 252 EVs into both of those as well. And for the item on the set, we can either go with a Choice Specs to increase our special attack while locking us into a move, a Choice Scarf to increase our speed while locking us into a move, a Life Orb to boost the damage of all of our attacks at the cost of losing 10% of our health every time we damage our opponent, or even just going with Leftovers, as it's always a pretty solid neutral option that you can't really go wrong with. But for the moves in this set, our main stab water type attack is going to either be Hydro Pump or Scald. And yes, I know some of you might be wondering where its signature move is. Well, for singles battles, its signature move really doesn't work out to be better than anything else except in a couple of very specific situations. So more often than not, you're going to want the increased base power of Hydro Pump, or you're going to want the chance to burn with Scald. In addition to this, though, we have access to Ice Beam for a powerful Ice type move, and also Air Slash for a very powerful Flying type move as well that has a chance to flinch. And for your third move slot, we can include Air Slash again, or even going with Dark Pulse, Shadow Ball, or Mud Shot as an additional type coverage option, all of which have various uses depending on the type of set that you're going to be using and the attacks that you want coverage for. Additionally, Mud Shot is there even though it's a weaker attack, because if you do decide to Dynamax this, it obviously becomes into a very powerful ground type move that you can make use of that you wouldn't have the coverage for otherwise. But lastly on the set, we're going to go ahead and run U-Turn for its amazing utility of allowing you to switch in and out of battle while dealing a little bit of damage in the process, and that's where we're going with the Naive Nature and the 4 attack EVs, because honestly this Pokemon could deal a decent amount of damage with U-Turn because it has a pretty good attack stat, so we're not going to be reducing its physical attack in any way. As for this next moveset, we're going to run Inteleon as a boosting special attacker to increase its damage output further. So for this one, we're going to start by giving it either a Timid Nature to boost its speed but lower its physical attack, or a Modest Nature to boost its special attack but lower its physical attack. And for the ability, again, both Torrent and Sniper work well, but there is one particular setup with this set where Sniper actually works out to be the better ability once it's released. As for the EVs though, this time, we're again going to max its special attack and speed stat, but we're going to put the remainder 4 EVs into its special defense this time, because we are not running any physical attacks. And for the item on the set, we can either go with a Razor Claw to increase our critical hit ratio by 1 stage, or a Life Orb to increase all of our damage by also losing 10% of our health every time we damage an opponent. But for the moves on this set, the first one that we're going to consider running to boost our attack power is going to be Focus Energy, which is going to be boosting your critical hit ratio by 2 stages, and this plus the Razor Claw item is going to guarantee that you critically hit with every single one of your attacks, which then obviously works really well in combination with the Sniper ability, thus giving you amazing attack power, and also keeping in mind that critical hits actually go through opponents' boosted defenses as well, which can be very beneficial. But if you don't want to go with this setup, Workup is a great option. It'll boost your physical attack and your special attack by 1 stage, but more specifically, we're looking at that special attack boost to increase our attack power, and to also boost our speed as an additional option, we have Agility, which will increase our speed by 2 stages. But as for the moves on this set, again, Hydro Pump and Scald as your main stab water type move, Ice Beam, Air Slash, Dark Pulse, Shadow Ball, or Mud Shot as a coverage option. And all of those options work very well, as mentioned before, especially even when considering the power increase that you get when you Dynamax them. Now moving on to some more physically oriented movesets for Inteleon, we're going to start this one off by giving it a Jolly Nature to boost its speed, but lower its special attack, and again going with either the Torrent or the Sniper ability. But for the EVs this time, we're going to maximize our physical attack and speed by putting 252 EVs into both of those, and then putting the remainder 4 into its special defense. And for the item on this set, we can run either a Choice Band to boost our physical attack while locking us into a move, a Choice Scarf to boost our speed while locking us into a move, a Life Orb to boost the power of all of our attacks at the cost of losing 10% of our health every time we damage an opponent, or Leftovers again as just a general good option because that extra recovery that we get is always beneficial. As for these moves though, the first one that we're going to go with for our main stab water type attack is either going to be Liquidation or Waterfall, and basically it's dependent upon whether or not you care about the defense drop that Liquidation provides or the chance of flinch that Waterfall provides, as they are almost equal in power, so there's really no drawback to running one or the other. It's just personal preference as what you want the secondary effect to be. But in addition to this, we're going to go ahead and run Icicle Spear as a very nice ice type attack that'll hit either 2 to 5 times, and it has the potential of obviously being a 125 base power ice type move if it hits all 5 times, which is very, very cool and a really interesting coverage option that this Pokemon gets access to, as not a lot of other physical water types have access to this move. In addition to this though, in our third move slot, we're either going to run Sucker Punch as a powerful dark priority move, Aqua Jet as a water type priority move, Ice Shard as a ice type priority move, or even running Bounce as an additional flying coverage option, which can be very good because it also has a chance to paralyze your opponent. I know it's a little bit easier to predict around Bounce, obviously because it's a 2-turn move, but it is still a decent option, and I'm sure something on your opponent's team probably wouldn't want to get paralyzed anyway, so it is a pretty solid option to go with, even though it's a little bit more of a unique option to use. But again, like with the special attacking set, our last option for this moveset is going to be to run U-Turn, as it is a powerful bug move that will allow us to weave in and out of battle a lot more easily and damage things as we switch into potential counters to whatever your opponent brought in on Inteleon. And just like before with the special attacking moveset, we also have a boosting physical attacking one. So for this one, we can start with either giving it a Jolly Nature to boost its speed but lower its special attack, or an Adamant Nature to boost its physical attack but lower its special attack. Go with either the Torrent or Sniper ability again, depending on your boosting move, and for the EVs, running the same spread as the previous set to maximize their physical attack and speed. But for the item on the set, a Life Orb again is a great option just for increased damage, but we could also go with the Razor Claw like on the special boosting set if you want to go the Focus Energy critical hit variant, or even run a Citrus Berry on the set, which has some interesting applications in addition to obviously healing you, allowing you to make full use of the Acrobatics move as a good flying type coverage option. But for the moves on this set, the first one that we're going to go with is either going to be Swords Dance, Focus Energy, or Agility, depending on what you want to be boosting. I would say across the board, Swords Dance is the better option, but obviously Focus Energy with the critical hits when using the Sniper ability is very cool, and Agility also just to boost your speed, which is probably going to make you one of the fastest things in general on the battlefield, is amazing for basically making it so that nothing can outpace Inteleon. But depending on which option you use, we can actually use this moveset in a couple of different ways, as this is kind of 2 sets in one. I'm going to talk about the priority options here, as we have Aqua Jet, Ice Shard, and Sucker Punch on this set, which you can just use in combination with Swords Dance or Focus Energy as a set in and of itself, to just make this Pokemon a powerful priority attacker. And not a lot of Pokemon get access to 3 priority moves like this, which makes Inteleon very unique in that aspect, and a really cool set that you can just run on it in general, as you're just going to be hitting things before they're ever going to be able to attack you, and make this Pokemon one of the best revenge killers because of the type coverage that you get with those 3 priority moves. But if you don't go that route, Liquidation and Waterfall are your best stab water options, as mentioned before. Icicle Spear is there as a good ice type coverage option, and then Bounce or Acrobatics as your flying type coverage can be a very great option as well. Obviously, again, as I said before, using Acrobatics if you use the Citrus Berry item. But all in all, this is actually a really cool way to run this Pokemon, as it requires a little bit of setup, but will allow it to be able to hit things very hard from the physical side, and you are even free, if you would like to kind of mix and match moves with priority moves to make it so that this Pokemon will have a little bit of unpredictability in what its priority move is, and also just give it some great options all around, whether it wants to go first or just hit with a powerful attacking physical option. And finally, for the last moveset of this video, we're going to talk about Inteleon's ability to provide team support by dual screening. So we're going to start this one off by giving it either a Timid nature to boost its speed but lower its physical attack, or a Naive nature to boost its speed but lower its special defense, and then again running either Torrent or Sniper here, as it really doesn't matter for this set in particular. But for the EVs on this one, we're actually going to make this Pokemon a little bit more bulky to allow it to be a more successful dual screener, possibly setting up screens multiple times in battle. So we're going to maximize its HP stat by putting 252 EVs into that, put 4 into its special attack, and then put the remainder 252 EVs into its speed. So basically what you get here is a very high HP, speedy dual screener, which is very cool and almost on par with some of the Pokemon that have access to the Prankster ability and dual screening as well. So for the item, to extend the turns of our screens from 5 to 8, we're going to go ahead and run Light Clay, as it is the perfect option for a set like this. Then for the moves, obviously, Light Screen to increase our team's ability to take special hits, and Reflect to increase our team's ability to take physical hits are going to be your first 2 options. And this Pokemon, like I said, is very fast and will be very successful at setting this up because of its ability to outpace other things and set these screen up, which is then also going to increase this Pokemon's survivability as well. Then after that, we're going to go ahead and run Scald here as our main water type stab option, mainly just because it has that secondary effect of burning opponents, and since we're not really investing into our special attack, Scald, just for that added utility, is incredibly useful. Finally, for the last move on the set though, we're going to run U-Turn as a way to allow us to weave in and out of battle, and the way that this works especially well with dual screening is that you can set your screens up and then U-Turn out into something that's going to significantly benefit from those screens, which is a very, very cool strategy to employ. But additionally with this, we can just run Ice Beam as a coverage option because it's always a good thing to have on hand, or even running Haze to allow this Pokemon to remove any stat changes that your opponent may have acquired, which can be very beneficial for any Pokemon that this Pokemon will outspeed that is trying to set up. And there are quite a few Pokemon that I can think of off the top of my head that are like Calm Mind users or Bulk Up users or things like that Inteleon's going to easily be able to outspeed and just shut down with the Haze move, while also setting up screens in the process. So this set has a lot of interesting utility applications, and it's actually a really cool thing that this Pokemon has access to all these options, as not a lot of Pokemon that are typically seen as offensive do, or not a lot of Pokemon that are as fast as this Pokemon are able to achieve. But anyways, everybody, that is it for this video on Inteleon. So I want to thank you all for watching as always, and now I have officially completed all 3 videos on all 3 starters, so if you haven't seen the other 2 on Rillaboom and Cinderace, please go check them out. But as always, everybody, be sure to take care, goodbye, and I will see you all next time.